Starting in Android 5, Lollipop, Android supported the use of vector graphics. A vector graphic can be defined in an XML file instead of in a bitmap, and it can resize automatically and smoothly. And also, potentially, it can take up less space in an application package. I'll describe how you can use Android Studio to generate material design icons as vector graphics. Now, there are certain limitations to this approach, and I'll describe them towards the end of the video. But let's say that I wanted to display a simple icon in the middle of my application screen. In the project window, I'll right-click on the module and choose New Vector Asset. You can generate a vector asset either from an existing SVG file or, as I'm going to do, from a list of available material design icons. I'll click the Choose button, and I see that there are dozens of different icons available. You can filter these by clicking on one of these categories. I'll go to the Image category and scroll down, and I'll choose this smiley face icon and click OK. I'll accept all of the options and click Next, and then Finish. Then I'll go to the Resources folder under Drawable, and there's my new XML file, and it looks like this. Notice that Android Studio doesn't give me a way to preview the XML file, that is to say how it will look visually in the application from this screen. I can only see the raw XML. But that's fine. I'll be able to preview it in just a moment. Now, for displaying this file, you can treat it just like a bitmap. You can display it using an image view, an image button, or any other technique that works with drawable assets, because that's where it lives in your app resources. I'll go to my main activity class, and then use the Related Files icon to jump to the XML layout file. I'll look at the layout file in Design View, and then I'll drag in an Image View component, and I'll place it in the direct horizontal and vertical center of the screen. Then I'll switch to text mode, and I'll go to the Image View, and I'll add an src attribute. I'll start with the Drawable category, then I'll type IC, and there's my drawable asset, and I'll select it. Then I'll look at this in Design View again, and I see my little icon is being displayed in the center of the screen. The default size is its original size, 24 dps, or device-independent pixels. But I can change the width and height, and if I use dps, or device-independent pixels, then the relative size will appear the same regardless of which device this app is shown on. Then I'll look at this in Design View again, and there's the result. The original vector graphic is now expanded, and it's still showing smooth lines. It's not pixelating or showing jagged edges because vector graphics resize elegantly. Finally, I'll change the color of this vector graphic by adding a tint attribute. I'll start with the Android category, and then go to Color, and choose Holo Blue Bright. You can try any other color you like, and notice I have a preview of the original graphic on the source line and a preview of the color on the tint line. And if I now look at this in Design View, I see the result is my graphic with the right color and the right size. Now I'll run the app on my device, and there's the result. It's displaying the graphic in the middle of the screen. Now, there are a couple of things to understand about the nature of these vector graphics. They were only really supported starting in Android 5, Lollipop. But you could take this app and run it on older versions of Android. And the reason that's happening is that during the packaging process, raster versions of these graphics are being generated by the Gradle build file and then included with the app package. You can try running this app on a device that runs Android 4.4 KitKat, and it should run perfectly fine. If you wanted to eliminate that additional raster graphic that's being generated, you would have to go to your build.gradle file and change your minimum SDK version to at least version 20. But that would eliminate a whole bunch of older versions of Android that you otherwise might want to support. The good news is that those additional versions of the graphics are being generated for you without your having to do anything. So Android Studio is helping you generate the XML file, and Gradle is generating additional versions of the graphic that you need to support those older versions of the operating system.